When Elon Musk walked into a quiet library wearing a MAGA hat, he unknowingly became the center of a storm that would test judgment, forgiveness, and the power of kindness. To Linda, a lifelong librarian, it wasn't just a hat, it was a battle cry, a symbol of everything she opposed. Without knowing the man beneath it, she made a decision that would change both their lives. "Sir," her voice cut through the stillness, "we don't allow politics here. That hat, you need to leave." The man paused, turning toward her with a calm yet piercing gaze. He didn't argue, didn't raise his voice. But in that moment, Linda couldn't imagine that this stranger was about to save the very library she loved, and force her to confront her own beliefs. Before we dive into this story, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest stories. Now, let's get started. For decades, the Maplewood Public Library stood as a quiet refuge in the bustling city, a haven where minds young and old came to explore the boundless world of ideas. Its towering shelves, though worn with age, once brimmed with life as children laughed in the reading corner and scholars pored over history books. But times had changed. The library now echoed with silence, its shelves thinning as visitors dwindled and funding dried up. Linda, the librarian, felt this decline deeply. For over 30 years, she had poured her soul into this place. The library wasn't just her job, it was her legacy. Every book she cataloged, every child she helped find the perfect story, and every elderly visitor she greeted with a warm smile reaffirmed her purpose. Yet, with every passing day, the cracks in the walls seemed to mirror the cracks in her hope. Elon Musk, on the other hand, entered the library not with nostalgia, but with intent. He had heard about its impending closure through a friend and felt an urge to act. To Elon, libraries were more than buildings, they were bridges. Bridges between communities, generations, and ideologies. Dressed in a simple jacket and the infamous MAGA hat, he moved quietly through the aisles, his sharp eyes noting the sagging shelves and the outdated infrastructure. Linda watched him from behind the circulation desk, her gaze narrowing as her stomach churned. The hat. That unmistakable symbol of division. To her, it wasn't just a political statement, it was a challenge to everything she stood for. How could someone who wore that hat possibly respect the sanctuary she had worked so hard to preserve? And so, as Elon paused in the history section, Linda made a decision. She didn't see a man with a purpose. She saw a threat. What Linda couldn't know, what no one in the room could know, was that the stranger in front of her carried not just good intentions, but the power to rewrite the future of the library and the way she saw the world. Linda had seen enough. The man in the MAGA hat lingered too long in the history section, his presence gnawing at her. Every fiber of her being screamed to act, to defend the library from what she believed was an affront to its purpose. She stepped forward, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. "Sir," she said, her voice firm but edged with irritation, "I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Elon turned to her, puzzled. "Excuse me?" Linda crossed her arms. "That hat, you're bringing politics into a place meant for learning and unity. We don't tolerate divisiveness here." Elon looked at her for a moment, his expression calm. "I'm just here to browse," he replied, his tone polite but resolute. But Linda wasn't having it. "This is a safe space," she said, her voice rising slightly. "Your hat represents hate to many people. You're making others uncomfortable." Nearby patrons began to glance over, their curiosity piqued. Elon sighed, lowering the book he had been examining. "I didn't realize a piece of fabric could cause so much disruption," he said quietly, his words hanging in the air. Linda's frustration boiled over. "This isn't about fabric," she snapped. "It's about what it stands for. And if you can't respect this space, you should leave." Elon studied her, his face betraying no anger or defensiveness. Instead, he gave her a small, almost pitying smile. "I see," he said. "Well, if that's your rule, I won't argue." He closed the book gently and placed it back on the shelf. As he turned to leave, his movements were deliberate, almost gracious. But there was a flicker of something in his eyes, disappointment, perhaps, or understanding too profound to be spoken. The library was silent as Elon walked toward the door. Linda stood rooted in place, her heart pounding, but she refused to waver. She had done what she believed was right, or so she told herself. Elon stepped outside, the cool breeze brushing against his face as he paused on the library steps. For a brief moment, he glanced back at the weathered building, its faded sign hanging slightly crooked. To anyone else, it might seem like just another old structure on the brink of collapse. But to Elon, it was something more, a symbol of resilience, a place worth saving. He adjusted the collar of his jacket, pulling out his phone as he walked toward his car. His Tesla, sleek and understated, stood out amidst the older vehicles parked nearby. Sliding into the driver's seat, he placed a MAGA hat on the passenger side and leaned back with a sigh. For a moment, he sat in silence, replaying Linda's words in his mind. Her tone, sharp and unyielding, wasn't unfamiliar to him. Over the years, Elon had faced countless critics, skeptics, and outright hostility. He had learned to brush it off, to focus on actions rather than reactions. But today, it wasn't anger he felt, it was disappointment. Tapping on his phone screen, he sent a quick message to his assistant. Proceed with the full donation. Make sure it's anonymous for now. The reply came almost instantly. Understood. Coordinating with the board. Elon nodded to himself, his lips curving into a faint smile. Looking out the window, he watched the library from afar. A small group of children ran past, laughing as they chased each other across the sidewalk. An older man shuffled inside, clutching a stack of books. This place still had life, still had meaning. And despite Linda's judgment, Elon knew it wasn't about her. It was about them. His gaze shifted to the MAGA hat beside him, its bright red fabric catching the afternoon sun. It wasn't just a hat, it was a lightning rod, a symbol of everything people projected onto it. Today, it had sparked judgment, fear, and division. But Elon believed in something greater. Kindness isn't about being seen, he thought aloud, his voice barely above a whisper. It's about doing what's right, even when no one's looking. The street buzzed with traffic as Elon started the car. A passerby caught sight of the hat through the window and scowled, shaking his head as he walked away. Elon noticed but didn't react. It was a small reminder of the world he lived in, a world where symbols often overshadowed actions. As the Tesla glided into traffic, Elon's mind lingered on Linda. What had shaped her to react the way she did? Was it fear? A need to protect something she loved? He couldn't blame her for what she didn't know. He only hoped that, in time, she would see the bigger picture. The library grew smaller in his rearview mirror, but the story was far from over. For Elon, this was just the beginning of something greater, not just for the library, but for the lesson it would teach them all. A week had passed since the confrontation at the library. Linda had tried to put the incident behind her, though the stranger in the red hat lingered in her thoughts. She convinced herself that she had done the right thing, defending the library's safe space from divisiveness. Yet, there was a nagging unease she couldn't shake. On a quiet Wednesday morning, Linda was preparing to open the library when she noticed a group of people gathered outside. Among them were reporters with cameras, local officials, and a few familiar faces from the community. Confused, she hurried to the entrance, her heart pounding. "What's going on?" she asked one of her colleagues, who was staring at their phone with wide eyes. "You're not going to believe this," they replied. "A huge donation, millions of dollars, is being made to the library." Linda's breath caught. "What? From who?" Before the colleague could answer, a car pulled up, a sleek black Tesla. The crowd murmured as the door opened, and out stepped the same man Linda had asked to leave just days ago. Elon Musk. The reporters surged forward, cameras clicking as Elon waved politely. Linda froze, her mind racing. She felt the blood drain from her face as the realization hit her. The library board president, an older gentleman with a broad smile, stepped forward to greet Elon. "Mr. Musk, on behalf of our entire community, we want to thank you for your incredible generosity." Elon shook his hand warmly. "It's my pleasure. Libraries are more than just buildings. They're places where people can connect, learn, and grow. I'm happy to help keep that alive. Linda stood in the doorway, unable to move. Her stomach churned as she replayed their encounter. She remembered his calm demeanor, the way he hadn't argued or protested. She had been so quick to judge, so sure of her righteousness. And now this man, the man she had dismissed, was saving the very place she had dedicated her life to protecting. One of the reporters turned toward her. Linda, you're the librarian here, right? How does it feel to know Elon Musk is supporting your library? Her mouth opened, but no words came out. What could she say? That she had thrown out the man who was now being hailed as a hero. That she had let her biases blind her to his intentions. Elon caught her gaze from across the crowd. He didn't look angry or smug. Instead, there was a quiet understanding in his eyes, as if he knew exactly what she was feeling. He gave her a small nod, then turned back to address the reporters. This isn't about me, he said. It's about preserving a space that matters to this community. A place where everyone, no matter their background or beliefs, is welcome to learn and grow. The crowd erupted into applause. Linda's hands trembled as she clutched the edge of the door frame. She had fought so hard to protect the library from what she thought was a threat. And in doing so, she had nearly lost what mattered most. The news spread like wildfire. By the afternoon, the entire town was buzzing with excitement over Elon Musk's incredible donation. Social media was flooded with posts celebrating the library's rescue, accompanied by photos of Elon standing in front of the building, his calm smile and understated presence captivating everyone. This is amazing, one post read. Who would have thought Elon Musk would care about our little library? At the local coffee shop, a group of regulars sat discussing the news. I heard he just showed up out of nowhere, one said. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable is right, another chimed in. I mean, isn't he the guy with the MAGA hat? What's he doing saving a library? Conversations like this were happening everywhere. Some praised Elon for his generosity, calling him a hero. Others couldn't reconcile his actions with the divisive symbol he had worn. Meanwhile, Linda kept to herself, unable to escape the whispers. At the library, a few visitors approached her cautiously. You must be so proud, one said, smiling. Linda forced a nod, her stomach knotting with guilt. But not all the feedback was kind. In a local online forum, someone had posted a question. Why was Elon Musk thrown out of the library he just saved? The thread exploded with speculation and criticism. Some blamed Linda directly, while others defended her. Typical librarian, one comment sneered. Always gatekeeping who's welcome. Another countered. She's done so much for the library. Don't judge her for one mistake. The community was divided. Some saw Elon's actions as a testament to rising above political lines. Others felt conflicted, questioning how someone with such polarizing affiliations could display such kindness. For Linda, the weight of it all was unbearable. The looks from her colleagues, the murmurs in the community, and her own shame gnawed at her relentlessly. She had always been the library's protector, but now she felt like its biggest failure. The news spread like wildfire. By the afternoon, the entire town was buzzing with excitement over Elon Musk's incredible donation. Social media was flooded with posts celebrating the library's rescue, accompanied by photos of Elon standing in front of the building, his calm smile and understated presence captivating everyone. This is amazing, one post read. Who would have thought Elon Musk would care about our little library? At the local coffee shop, a group of regulars sat discussing the news. I heard he just showed up out of nowhere, one said. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable is right, another chimed in. I mean, isn't he the guy with the MAGA hat? What's he doing saving a library? Conversations like this were happening everywhere. Some praised Elon for his generosity, calling him a hero. Others couldn't reconcile his actions with the divisive symbol he had worn. Meanwhile, Linda kept to herself, unable to escape the whispers. At the library, a few visitors approached her cautiously. You must be so proud, one said, smiling. Linda forced a nod, her stomach knotting with guilt. But not all the feedback was kind. In a local online forum, someone had posted a question. Why was Elon Musk thrown out of the library he just saved? The thread exploded with speculation and criticism. Some blamed Linda directly, while others defended her. Typical librarian. One comment sneered. Always gatekeeping who's welcome. Another countered. She's done so much for the library. Don't judge her for one mistake. The community was divided. Some saw Elon's actions as a testament to rising above political lines. Others felt conflicted, questioning how someone with such polarizing affiliations could display such kindness. For Linda, the weight of it all was unbearable. The looks from her colleagues, the murmurs in the community, and her own shame gnawed at her relentlessly. She had always been the library's protector, but now she felt like its biggest failure. The library buzzed with life in a way Linda hadn't seen in years. Volunteers carried books to newly installed shelves, children's laughter echoed from the bright, refurbished reading corner, and the smell of fresh paint lingered in the air. The transformation was breathtaking, but for Linda, it was bittersweet. She stood near the circulation desk, watching as people marveled at the library's rebirth. Yet, she couldn't shake the weight of her own role in what had almost been its end. Elon Musk's donation had saved the library, but it had also revealed truths she could no longer ignore, about herself, her biases, and her responsibility to the community. Determined to make amends, Linda had taken a bold step. She organized a community meeting to discuss the library's future. Tonight was the night, and the room was filled with people from all walks of life. Some were longtime patrons, others were newcomers curious about the changes. All were united by a shared love for the library. Linda stepped to the front, her heart pounding. She clutched the microphone, her voice trembling at first. "Thank you all for being here," she began. "This library has always been a place of learning, growth, and connection. But a few weeks ago, I failed to uphold those values." The room fell silent. Linda took a deep breath and continued. "When Elon Musk came here, I judged him not as a person, but as a symbol. I let my assumptions blind me to his intentions, and in doing so, I almost let my own biases threaten what I've worked my whole life to protect." A murmur spread through the crowd. Linda raised her hand for quiet. "But Elon didn't let my actions define him. Instead, he showed us what true kindness looks like. He saved this library, not for recognition, but because he believes in what it stands for. And now, it's my turn to do better. Our turn to do better." She looked around the room, her gaze steady. "This library isn't just mine. It belongs to all of us. Let's make it a place where everyone feels welcome, no matter who they are or what they believe. Because that's what this community deserves." The room erupted into applause. Linda felt a weight lift from her shoulders, replaced by a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years. After the meeting, as people lingered to share ideas and stories, Linda noticed Elon standing quietly near the back. She approached him, her steps hesitant but resolute. "Mr. Musk," she said, her voice soft but clear. "Thank you for everything. And I'm sorry. I was wrong about you, about everything." Elon smiled, extending his hand. "No apology needed," he said. "Just keep this place alive. That's all I ask." Linda shook his hand firmly, her heart swelling with gratitude. The library had been saved, but more importantly, so had Linda's belief in the power of humility, forgiveness, and community. The Maplewood Public Library had been reborn. Its new facade gleamed in the morning sun, and inside, it was alive with activity. Families explored the shelves, students gathered in study groups, and retirees flipped through newspapers in cozy reading nooks. The community had come together in ways Linda had never imagined, and she couldn't help but feel a deep sense of gratitude. Weeks after the grand reopening, Linda found herself walking through the library early one morning. She stopped by the history section, where the shelves were now full and vibrant, thanks to Elon's generosity. She ran her fingers along the spines of the books, her thoughts drifting back to their first encounter. A soft laugh escaped her lips as she noticed a small plaque on the wall nearby. It read, "Donated in honor of the Maplewood community, because knowledge is the greatest bridge of all. Elon Musk." Linda pinned a small badge to her cardigan. It bore a simple message: grateful, not hateful. As she glanced around the bustling library, she realized that the badge wasn't just for show. It was a reminder of the lessons she had learned. Later that day, Linda spotted a familiar figure in the children's section. Elon was crouched beside a young boy, helping him pick out a book. He looked up and gave her a small wave. She smiled back, her heart swelling with appreciation. As Elon stood to leave, he paused near the entrance, taking one last look at the place he had helped save. His quiet departure was a testament to the values he had championed, not recognition, but action. And as Linda watched him go, she thought to herself, kindness doesn't need to shout. It speaks loudest through the lives it touches. In the end, this isn't just a story about a library or a hat. It's about the bridges we can build when we choose understanding over judgment, and action over words. It's about finding hope in the most unexpected places, even in a divided world. And as this chapter closes, don't forget to start your next one with us. Hit that subscribe button and join us for more stories of change, forgiveness, and the power of kindness. Until next time.